Hey guys, Anthony here, Thursday, April 18th, 2024. I thought I'd make a video today giving my recommendation for a few movies to watch. Actually, I'm going to add one here, Dragon Day. I'm going to add one to my list. I have four of them here I'd like for you. If you get time, give them a watch. I think they're good movies to help you get your mind thinking of the time period we live in, some of the things that are going on in our country, around the world, that'll kind of open your eyes to some things, and you'll see some things in the movie. I'm going to review one of the movies here today a little bit more in depth, but I'll talk about the other ones. So the first movie that I'm going to talk about actually today is a movie called How It Ends, and that's starring Forrest Whitaker and Theo James. That was made in 2018. I recommend you watch that movie. There's some things in the movie, you'll see some mistakes that I'm going to point out that I think Forrest Whitaker made in the movie, and Theo James also, knowing possibly what they were going up against when they decided to take their trek across country. But we'll get back to that one. The second movie I think is worth a watch. It's a 2016 movie written by Stephen King. It's called Cell, C-E-L-L, and John Cusack is in it, and Samuel L. Jackson is in it. That's a very good movie in that it demonstrates in the movie a type of technology that comes through cell phones. So I'm not going to give away the movie if you haven't saw it yet, but I highly recommend the movie Cell, and you'll see how it progresses. And all these movies are, you see, the characters, this event happening or events that are happening or unfolding, and then you see the characters trying to survive or get from point A to point B. So it's all things that could, really happen if you're caught in something behind enemy lines, if something happens in your area, and you've got to get from point A to point B, and there's fires or marauders or bad weather, it gets you thinking about some of the things you need to have on hand and available to you at a moment's notice. And that's what I think these movies will help, trigger in you. And also things just happen out of nowhere and people turn into zombies and, just start going crazy. That is portrayed in some of these movies as well. The third movie that I think is a good watch, I didn't get the characters' names. There's no really big name actors in it, but it's a very good movie, not as far as like top actors and top directing and stuff like that. It's kind of a B movie, but the message in it I think is really good. That's called Dragon Day. Dragon Day. And it takes place here in the United States, and that more than any movie that I recently saw kind of shows with technology and chips, computer chips, and how a lot of our stuff is imported from China, how something like this can be pulled off. So the movie Dragon Day, you can find them I think on whether it's Netflix, Amazon Prime, Paramount Plus, any one of those those channels, you'll be able to find these movies for free. And then the third is a series that's called Jericho, and I've made videos on Jericho. It was a 2-season movie or series that was done, I believe, back in 2014. I have the box DVD set. I think the first season is a full season. It goes 22 or 23 episodes, and then all of a sudden season 2 went about 6 or 8 episodes, and then boom, it looked like it was cut short. Jericho is the series to watch, even though it's filmed a while ago. A lot of what's in it is probably what will transpire in your area or in your town, in your city, if you're cut off due to war, nuclear holocaust, whatever. It portrays what probably people will turn into, neighboring towns will turn into, the military will turn into, or parts of the military possibly, and what military contractors can pose as. And I won't give the series away, but Jericho is highly recommended. I believe that it was cut short for a reason, and as events unfold today, now 2024, I could see why they probably cut that series short, because it could have went further, and I don't think the powers that run media wanted more of that kind of depicting to get out. So we'll leave it at that. So how it ends: Cell, Jericho, which is a series. The other ones are just one movies. Dragon Day, and I'll add another one, a fifth, Nefarious. If you haven't seen Nefarious, I would see Nefarious as well. So in Dragon Day, in How It Ends, basically the movie takes place. Theo James, he's a good actor. Forrest Whitaker, everybody knows him. You'll know him when you see him. He's got like that kind of cross eye. Very good actor. Forrest Whitaker plays this ex-Marine, real tough guy, retired, lives in Chicago, and Theo James is, I guess, marrying his daughter and going from I think it's Seattle, where he lives with Forrest Whitaker's daughter, to Chicago to ask for their father's blessing in their marriage. And so while he's traveling to Chicago, and while he's there, he has dinner with the family. It kind of ends, a lot of tension between Forrest Whitaker and this guy. In the show, you'll see. But at any rate, something very tragic happens while Theo James, whose character is Will, is on the phone with the daughter, and he's getting ready to travel back from Chicago to Seattle. Everything cuts off, the phone cuts off, and her last message is, "Oh boy, this is bad," or something like that. And nobody knows what happens. Next thing you know, you see, military jets flying in the sky in Chicago. You see all kinds of, scrambling taking place. So it's some type of attack or grid down. And so Forrest Whitaker, whose character is Tom in the movie, gets together with Will, the future son-in-law, and they decide that since they can't fly, all the planes are down, all the airports are down, they're going to drive from Chicago all the way to, I think it's Seattle. It's the West Coast. And so, Forrest Whitaker comes down with this go bag, and he's got some items in it. You see him putting a handgun, a flashlight, and something else into a knife, like a pocket knife, into the bag. Now, I have some comments on, if you're going from Chicago to Seattle, possible grid down, possible bad actors, bad people on the road that you probably will encounter. I would take more than what Forrest Whitaker took in the movie. If you saw the movie, let me know what your thoughts are. But I would take more than a 6-hour 9mm with a spare mag if I'm going cross country and I know that's possible lawlessness. I'm going to think a little bit further, especially being a retired, highly decorated Marine like he was portrayed in the beginning of the movie. And so they're able to get through this roadblock in Chicago, shutting down all the highways, because he negotiates with a fellow Marine that's guarding the road, and he says, "I'm an ex-Marine. I'm trying to rescue my daughter in Seattle. Can you please let us through?" And the guy lets him through. So almost immediately, they run into bad actors on the road. They run into a person impersonating a police officer dressed in police clothes, and driving a cruiser. So this is things that are possible that could happen. And Jericho depicts that as well, where people will disguise themselves as police, firemen, road workers, Con Edison, utility workers, maybe Amazon or FedEx delivery workers, even commandeer their trucks and pull up to your house and say, hey, we got this package. And at the very beginnings of an event, they could gain access to your, by fooling you. And that's what happens in How It Ends. You see them looking at the compass needle on a compass, and the needle's just spinning. So something very bad happened out west that affected the atmosphere. They have run-ins with marauders and lawlessness, accidents on the highway. People are dying. No hospitals. There's no 911. It's every man for himself. As they're driving across, and it tells you, as the movie goes forward, day 1, day 2, as they're on the road, and they're in a Cadillac CTS or XTS, a nice car, a really nice car. In one of the scenes, they drive up to this town that they know somebody in that lives there, and the sheriff of the town and all the townspeople have it cordoned off, so they're guarding it, and they're armed with long guns, pistols, and they're not letting anyone through. But Will is able to tell the sheriff that I know so and so. He gives the name of the family, that he knows them, and they end up getting let through. And you hear radio chatter that the Chinese are probably behind this. You hear this in the background. So what they do is they go visit this place. They load up on bottled water. They load up on supplies. And then they begin their journey again on the road. They see a military plane shot down in a field. They get some gas. They siphon gas out of another vehicle. Will, the father's phone, turns back on suddenly, and he's able to hear like a distress message that his daughter left him, but it's a 2-day-old message. At one point in the movie, they come across hundreds of people walking along the highway while the city behind them is on fire. And so you see this portrayal of refugees, if you will, that if a city is attacked or set on fire or something devastating happens to it, you see these people walking out towards the rural areas or out of the city limits. So these are all things that kind of you'll see in the movie when you watch it, that'll get you thinking, and they'll probably help you in your preparations. In one of the scenes, they get in this car chase, an accident. Forrest Whitaker gets injured, breaks some ribs. You'll see, I won't give away the movie, but he gets very run down and not able to function too good from that injury. And you see that, it only takes one injury or wound or whatever, and there's nowhere to go. There's no medical care. So whatever you have in your person, like in his go bag or in his car, would be what he would need to be treated, like medicine or whatever. So you don't see that in the movie. You don't see him having those types of supplies in the movie, which I thought, again, was coming from a Marine. He would have more packed and ready to go. A go bag, yeah, but maybe also like a duffel pre-packed that he always has ready to go with all kinds of stuff in it that he could just grab and throw in the car. You didn't see that. They encounter marauders continually. There's marauders on the road, people traveling in packs with shotguns, taking over, killing, pillaging. And so once they made that decision to go out and drive across country without possibly gas stations or anything on the road, they really embarked on a mission that was probably suicidal, I would say, with two guys and what the supplies that they took. Um, you'll see in the movie. It was really enlightening, to say the least. Um, so on day 5, Will finds himself on foot walking. He's got just a backpack, and while he's walking, I think it's the father's backpack. I think it's like a Rush 24, a 511. It's either a Rush 24 model or a Rush 72 model backpack. It's definitely like the Molly type backpack. He ends up hitching a ride with this family and offers them a ride and they end up in, it's a father with his wife and kid, and they end up in Idaho at Will's father's house. And Will trades the couple. He takes their Jeep and gives them all these things at his father's house in exchange for it. The car, because he needs the Jeep to get from Idaho to Seattle to go find his wife. So he ends up making this barter deal with the family, the father of the family that picked him up hitchhiking. And the guy goes for the deal because, he offers him a lot on that end, food and water and whatever's in his father's house is for the Jeep. And so that trade goes good. So it shows you how bartering and trade is important in the movie. One of the things that the movie depicts is Will has Forrest Whitaker's Sig Sauer. Now, in the beginning, when they first embarked on the journey, Will did not know guns, did not know how to operate them. He didn't seem like he was for guns, let's put it that way. But by this point of the movie, he had already shot the gun and helped defend them on their trek across country. And so he opens the gun, drops the mag, and there's one bullet left in the magazine. And that's kind of what gets your stomach to sink, because he's getting closer to ground zero where his wife is, and he's got one bullet in the gun. And, you see these ominous signs in the clouds and thunders and lightnings and storms that they show in the movie that something bad happened in the atmosphere. And so he rolls up to this one area, and it looks like nuclear fallout. He sees a crashed fire truck, and he grabs a gas mask off the fire truck to put on so he could breathe, because it looks like something nuclear went off in this town. He ventures into the city where their apartment was, and everything is devastated. He finds the apartment. He sees the daughter left him a signal, a note she wrote it on the door where she was going, and then he knows where to go next. And so he ends up finding his wife. I won't give away what happens when him and his wife get back together. There's another person that's involved in it. I won't give away what happens there because it's kind of like it'll ruin the movie for you. But towards the end of the movie, or at the end of the movie, you see them driving in their vehicle, the Jeep, and there's this gigantic, looks like a nuclear cloud following them at like a high rate of speed, almost able to overtake the Jeep as it's going probably 60, 70 miles an hour, and they're running away from it, and this massive wind and nuclear storm is like following after them. And then I won't give away any of the rest of the movie, but it's definitely a movie good movie to watch. You'll learn maybe some things about having more prepared. I would after watching that movie, you want to over prepare for something. You want to have more ammo than you need, more extra mags than you need, maybe a long gun, maybe definitely more medical kits and antibiotics and stuff like that if you're going on a road trip where you may not be coming back. More water, maybe water filtration, maybe some armor, and as a Marine you'd probably would think he would have all that, but he kind of just left. It looks like they leave on the spur of the moment, and he just takes a backpack. And, we're going to drive from Chicago to Seattle, which I don't know, what is it? It's got to be over 1,000 miles, maybe more, on treacherous roads, possibly. So that's the movie, How It Ends. The other movies, Cell, Jericho, and Dragon Day, highly recommended. And I'll do some more reviews coming down the pike as I go into my prepping movies. And I'll give you a short description of them and recommendations from me. But that's the review on How It Ends with Forrest Whitaker and Theo James, and written by Stephen King. Anthony signing off. Thanks for watching. Stay ready.